The day Earth changed forever started like any other. People went about their usual routines, unaware that their world was about to be turned upside down. It was a sunny Tuesday morning when every screen on the planet suddenly went blank. Confusion spread quickly. From Times Square in New York to Piccadilly Circus in London, the giant billboards flickered and died. Smartphones, tablets, and computers all displayed the same message: stand by for an important announcement. In homes, offices, and on the streets, billions of eyes stared at screens, waiting. The air was thick with tension. Then, the face of the United Earth President, Elena Rodriguez, appeared. Her expression was serious, her eyes intense. "Citizens of Earth," she began, her voice steady, but filled with an undercurrent of excitement. "Today, we make history. For years, we have kept a secret from you, a secret that will now change our place in the universe forever." People held their breath. What could be so important? "We are not alone," Rodriguez continued. "There is a galactic empire out there, spanning countless star systems. They have known about us for some time. And now we have made a decision that will echo across the stars." The president paused, allowing her words to sink in. In living rooms and public squares, people gasped and murmured. Aliens? An empire? It seemed impossible. "As of this moment," Rodriguez declared, her voice growing stronger, "Earth has officially banned the Galactic Empire from entering our solar system. No entry is allowed. We stand alone, independent, and free." The announcement hit like a shockwave. In New York, a hot dog vendor dropped his tongs. In Tokyo, a businessman's briefcase clattered to the ground. In a small village in Kenya, a group of elders sat in stunned silence. Reactions varied wildly. Some people cheered, pumping their fists in the air. Others fell to their knees in prayer. Many simply stood frozen, trying to process the earth-shattering news. As Rodriguez continued her speech, detailing the reasons behind this bold move, the first waves of chaos began. Social media, after a brief outage, exploded with activity. Hashtag Galactic ban and hashtag Earth Stance Alone began trending worldwide. In Washington, D.C., outside the White House, crowds began to gather. Some carried hastily made signs reading "Earth First" and "No Alien Overlords." Others demanded more information, chanting, "We want the truth." Meanwhile, in a secret facility deep beneath the Swiss Alps, the Earth's delegation to the Galactic Empire was in an uproar. Ambassador Chen Weiliu faced a holographic projection of Supreme Counselor Zixitar, the Empire's chief diplomat to Earth. Zixitar's three eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation in his species. "This is outrageous," he bellowed, his translator struggling to keep up with his alien language. "The Empire demands an explanation." Chen remained calm, though sweat beaded on his forehead. "The decision has been made, Counselor. Earth chooses to stand on its own." As this confrontation unfolded, Earth's military went on high alert. In orbit, the small but advanced Earth Defense Fleet powered up its shields. On the ground, long-hidden anti-orbital weapons emerged from secret bunkers. The public, unaware of these hidden defenses, reacted with a mix of fear and bravado. In a bar in Dublin, a group of friends raised their glasses in a toast to Earth's independence. In a Rio de Janeiro favela, a young girl asked her grandmother if the aliens would come to take them away. News channels scrambled to provide coverage. Experts in astronomy, political science, and military strategy were called in, though none had any real experience with galactic politics. Their speculations only added to the growing storm of information and misinformation. As the day wore on, the initial shock began to give way to a new reality. Humanity had taken its first, defiant step onto the galactic stage. They had looked at an empire spanning the stars and said, "No, this far, and no further." What would come next, no one knew. But as the sun set on this historic day, one thing was clear: Earth would never be the same again. The people of this small blue planet had just told the galaxy that they were a force to be reckoned with, and somewhere out there, among the stars, the Galactic Empire was deciding how to respond. As Earth grappled with the shocking revelation of alien life and its own bold defiance, a select few knew this was not humanity's first encounter with the Galactic Empire. The truth lay buried in the shadows of recent history, known only to a handful of the world's most powerful individuals. 5 years earlier, on a cold night in the Mojave Desert, something extraordinary happened. A sleek, silver craft, unlike anything made on Earth, touched down in a remote area. Its arrival was witnessed by Sarah Chen, a civilian astronomer who had been stargazing in the area. Sarah's heart raced as she watched 3 tall, slender figures emerge from the craft. They had pale blue skin and large, almond-shaped eyes. Without hesitation, she reached for her phone and began recording. Little did Sarah know, her actions that night would change the course of human history. Within hours of the landing, black helicopters descended on the area. Men in dark suits confiscated Sarah's phone and swore her to secrecy. She was taken to a hidden facility deep in the Nevada desert, where she met General Marcus Stone, the head of a top-secret organization known as EEDA, Earth Extraterrestrial Defense Agency. "Ms. Chen," General Stone had said, his voice grave, "what you saw tonight was not supposed to happen. The Empire has broken protocol. They're getting impatient." Over the next few days, Sarah learned the truth. Earth had been under covert observation by the Galactic Empire for decades. The Empire, vast and ancient, saw Earth as a primitive world ripe for colonization. They had been slowly infiltrating human society, preparing for a full-scale takeover. EEDA had been formed in secret by a coalition of world governments to counter this threat. They had managed to capture several Imperial agents over the years, learning bits and pieces about the Empire's technology and intentions. One of these captured agents was Arthal, a high-ranking Imperial spy. Under intense interrogation, Zarthal revealed the Empire's true plans. "Your world is nothing but a resource to be exploited," he had sneered. "Your people will serve as labor in our mines and factories across the galaxy." This information galvanized Earth's leaders. They knew they had to act, but revealing the truth to the public too soon could cause panic. Instead, they decided to build up Earth's defenses in secret. Scientists and engineers worked tirelessly, reverse engineering captured Imperial technology. They developed energy shields, advanced AI systems, and weapons capable of damaging Imperial ships. All of this happened right under the noses of the general population. Sarah Chen became a key member of EEDA, her astronomical knowledge proving invaluable in understanding the Empire's capabilities. She worked closely with Dr. Aidan Foster, a brilliant physicist who led the technology development team. As the years passed, Earth's hidden strength grew. But so did the Empire's impatience. Imperial probes became more frequent, and their agents more aggressive in their infiltration attempts. The turning point came when EEDA intercepted an Imperial communication. The Empire was planning a full-scale invasion within the year. Earth's leaders knew they had to act. In a secret meeting held in an underground bunker beneath Geneva, representatives from every nation gathered. The debate was fierce. Some argued for immediate disclosure to the public, others for attempting to negotiate with the Empire. In the end, it was Sarah Chen who proposed the daring plan that would shock the galaxy. "We ban them," she said simply. "We show them and ourselves that humanity won't be pushed around. We stand up and say no." The idea was radical, almost absurd. Ban a galactic superpower. It seemed impossible. But as the leaders discussed it, they realized it might just work. It would buy them time, show strength, and unite humanity against a common threat. And so, the decision was made. Earth would reveal the existence of alien life, but on its own terms. They would present a strong, united front to the galaxy. As President Rodriguez made her historic announcement, Sarah Chen watched from EEDA headquarters. She knew the real challenge was just beginning. The Empire wouldn't take this lying down. But as she looked at the determined faces around her, General Stone, Dr. Foster, and countless others who had worked in secret for years, she felt a surge of hope. Humanity had faced impossible odds before and triumphed. Now, they would do it again. This time, on a galactic scale. As the world reeled from the revelation of alien life and Earth's defiant stance, the hidden heroes of EEDA were hard at work. In a top-secret facility buried deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Aidan Foster and his team of brilliant scientists were putting the finishing touches on humanity's secret weapon. The cavernous lab hummed with energy. Holographic displays flickered with complex equations and schematics. In the center of it all stood a simple-looking black cube, no larger than a shoebox. This unassuming object was the culmination of years of reverse engineering alien technology and pushing the boundaries of human innovation. Dr. Foster, his eyes red from lack of sleep, carefully lifted the cube. "This," he said to Sarah Chen, who had just entered the lab, "is our ace in the hole." Sarah raised an eyebrow. "That little thing is going to save us from a galactic empire." Aidan grinned, a rare expression on his usually serious face. "Size isn't everything, especially when it comes to technology. This little thing is going to turn the Empire's greatest strength into their greatest weakness." He set the cube down and pulled up a holographic display. "We've been analyzing the tech from captured Imperial ships and agents for years. We've found something interesting. A critical flaw in their AI systems." The display showed a complex network of interconnected nodes. The Empire relies heavily on AI for everything, from navigation to weapons systems. But their AI has a backdoor, a vulnerability they don't even know exists. Sarah leaned in, her eyes wide. "And that cube is a virus," Aidan finished. "The most sophisticated computer virus ever created. We call it the Trojan Horse." He manipulated the hologram, showing how the virus would spread through Imperial systems. Once activated, it will shut down their ships, disable their weapons, and give us control of their communication networks. It's not just a weapon. It's a skeleton key to their entire empire. Sarah whistled low. "That's incredible. But how do we deploy it?" Before Aidan could answer, an alarm blared through the facility. General Stone's voice came over the intercom, tense and urgent. "We've got incoming. Multiple Imperial ships just entered the solar system. They're headed for Earth." The scientists in the lab froze, fear visible on their faces. But Aidan remained calm. He carefully placed the cube into a secure case. "Looks like we're about to field test our little surprise," he said. As they rushed to the command center, Sarah couldn't help but worry. The cube was untested. What if it didn't work? What if the Empire's systems were too advanced? The command center was a flurry of activity. Screens showed the approaching Imperial fleet. Dozens of massive ships, each capable of destroying an entire city. General Stone stood at the center, barking orders. When he saw Aidan with the case, he nodded grimly. "Is it ready?" "As ready as it'll ever be," Aidan replied. Stone turned to the room. "Listen up, people. This is what we've been preparing for. Everything we've worked for comes down to this moment. We are humanity's last line of defense. Let's show these alien bastards what we're made of." A cheer went up from the assembled staff. The fear was still there, but now it was mixed with determination and a fierce pride. Sarah watched as Aidan connected the cube to EDGA's main systems. On the big screen, they could see Earth's small but advanced defense fleet moving to intercept the Imperial Armada. "Trojan Horse is online," Aidan announced. "Waiting for your command, General." Stone took a deep breath. This was it, the moment that would decide the fate of humanity. Would their daring plan work, or had they doomed Earth to subjugation? He looked around the room, meeting the eyes of each person there. They were ready. Humanity was ready. "Deploy the virus," he ordered. Aidan pressed a button on the cube. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. The Imperial ships continued their advance, growing larger on the screen. Then, one by one, The enemy ships began to falter. Their lights flickered. Their movements became erratic. A cheer began to build in the command center as they realized it was working. The Trojan horse was infiltrating the Imperial systems, spreading from ship to ship like wildfire. As the virus took hold, the tables turned. Earth's defense fleet, small but unaffected, began to surround the now helpless Imperial ships. In that moment, watching humanity's secret weapon change the course of history, Sarah Chen felt a surge of pride. Against all odds, they had done it. They had found a way to stand up to the galaxy. The battle for Earth was just beginning, but for the first time, it looked like they might actually win. As news of the approaching Imperial fleet spread, panic gripped the world. People rushed to stockpile food and supplies. Some fled to the countryside, while others huddled in makeshift shelters. The skies over every major city were filled with the constant roar of military aircraft. In New York, the streets were eerily empty. The usual bustle of Times Square was replaced by the looping emergency broadcast on the giant screens. In Tokyo, people crowded into ancient temples, praying for salvation. In Rio de Janeiro, the famous Christ, the Redeemer statue, stood watch over a city holding its breath. Meanwhile, in the secret EEDA facility, General Stone and his team worked tirelessly. The Trojan horse virus had given them an edge, but the battle was far from over. "We've disabled their main fleet," Sarah Chen reported, her eyes fixed on the holographic display. "But our long-range scanners show more ships entering the solar system." General Stone's face was grim. "They're not giving up easily. Aiden, how's our virus holding up?" Dr. Foster was typing furiously at his console. "It's working, but the Empire's tech guys are good. They're already trying to develop countermeasures. We need to press our advantage while we still have it." As they spoke, the first images of the disabled Imperial ships were being broadcast around the world. People watched in awe as Earth's small defense fleet surrounded the massive alien vessels. It was a David and Goliath scene playing out in the starry backdrop of space. The sight of humanity holding its own against the mighty Galactic Empire sparked a change in the global mood. Fear began to give way to hope, then to determination. In London, a group of teenagers spray-painted a giant mural on a wall. "Earth fights back." In Nairobi, people poured into the streets, singing and dancing in defiance of the alien threat. In Delhi, volunteers organized to support the families of Defense Force members. Back at EEDA, the team was coordinating a global response. Sarah was on a video call with world leaders, explaining the situation. "The virus has given us an opportunity, but we need to act fast. We're proposing a bold plan." On screens around the world, President Rodriguez addressed the global population. "Citizens of Earth, the battle for our planet has begun. But we are not helpless. We have struck the first blow, and now we must press our advantage." She outlined the plan. Earth would take control of the disabled Imperial ships. Teams of engineers and scientists would board the vessels, learning their technology and turning it against the Empire. "We call on all nations to unite," Rodriguez continued. "We need every skilled engineer, every brilliant scientist, every brave soldier. This is humanity's moment to show the galaxy what we're made of." The response was overwhelming. From every corner of the globe, volunteers stepped forward. Retired military personnel reported for duty. Scientists and engineers offered their expertise. Even civilians found ways to contribute, from organizing supply chains to providing emotional support. At space centers around the world, hastily trained boarding teams prepared for their mission. They were a diverse group: a retired NASA astronaut, a young Indian computer prodigy, a Brazilian deep-sea welder, a Chinese quantum physicist. Each brought unique skills to the task ahead. As the teams boarded their shuttles, crowds gathered to watch. People cheered and waved flags from every nation. For the first time in history, humanity was truly united against a common threat. In orbit, Earth's defense fleet escorted the boarding shuttles to the Imperial ships. As they approached, everyone held their breath. Would the alien technology reject them? Would there be hidden defenses? The first team docked successfully with an Imperial cruiser. "We're in," came the crackly report over the radio. Cheers erupted in the EEDA command center and around the world. But the celebration was short-lived. As the boarding teams began to explore the alien ships, a new alert blared. Sarah's eyes widened as she looked at the long-range scans. "General, we've got a problem. A massive Imperial battleship just entered the system. It's like nothing we've seen before." On the main screen, they watched as a colossal ship, easily 10 times the size of the largest disabled vessel, appeared. It moved with purpose, unaffected by the Trojan horse virus. General Stone's voice was steady as he gave the order. "All teams, prepare for combat. The real battle for Earth begins now." The massive Imperial battleship loomed in Earth's orbit, casting a shadow over the planet's newfound hope. Its size dwarfed even the largest of the disabled Imperial vessels. In the EEDA command center, tension was thick in the air. General Stone's voice cut through the silence. "What's the status of our boarding teams?" Sarah Chen quickly pulled up a holographic display. "Teams Alpha through Delta are fully deployed on the disabled ships. They're making progress, but it's slow going. The alien tech is, well, alien." Dr. Aiden Foster interjected, his fingers flying over a keyboard. "The good news is our Trojan horse virus is still holding on the smaller ships. The bad news: this new battleship seems to be running on a completely different system. Our virus can't touch it." Outside, in the vacuum of space, Earth's small defense fleet looked tiny compared to the approaching behemoth. The crews of these ships, though scared, stood their ground. They were humanity's first and last line of defense. Captain Maria Rodriguez, no relation to the president, sat in the command chair of the EDS Resilience, Earth's most advanced spaceship. Her voice was steady as she addressed her crew. "Remember your training. Remember what we're fighting for. Every person on that blue marble below is counting on us. We will not let them down." As the Imperial battleship drew closer, it began to launch smaller attack craft. These sleek, dart-like ships zipped towards Earth's fleet, weapons charging. "All ships, evasive maneuvers," Captain Rodriguez ordered. The space around Earth erupted into a dazzling display of laser fire and explosions. Back on Earth, people watched the battle unfold on their screens. In Tokyo, a young boy clutched his father's hand, eyes wide with a mix of fear and awe. In Lagos, a group huddled around a radio, listening to the play-by-play with bated breath. In Rio, people gathered in churches, mosques, and temples, praying for the safety of their defenders. In the EEDA facility, General Stone watched the battle with a grim expression. "We're outgunned and outmanned. We need a miracle." As if in answer to his words, Dr. Foster suddenly shouted, "I've got it." All eyes turned to him. The boarding teams, they found something. The Imperial ships, they all have a central AI core. If we can upload our virus directly to that core on the battleship, we could take control of it. Sarah finished, excitement in her voice. General Stone nodded. "It's risky, but it's our best shot. How do we get a team on that ship?" The room fell silent. The battleship was surrounded by a swarm of fighter craft. Getting close seemed impossible. Then, a crackling voice came over the comm system. It was Captain Rodriguez. "EDA Command, this is the Resilience. We've heard your plan. We volunteer for the mission." General Stone hesitated. The Resilience was their best ship. Losing it would be a huge blow. But they were out of options. "Godspeed, Resilience," he said finally. What followed was a display of piloting skill that would be talked about for generations. Captain Rodriguez weaved the Resilience through the chaos of battle, dodging laser fire and debris. Her crew worked in perfect sync, every member knowing their role. As they approached the battleship, the Resilience took hit after hit. Alarms blared on the bridge, warning of failing systems. But Captain Rodriguez kept her focus. "Just a little closer," she muttered. With a final burst of speed, the Resilience shot towards a docking port on the battleship. The impact shook the ship, but they had made it. "We're in," Rodriguez reported. "Deploying the boarding team now." The boarding team, led by Dr. Foster himself, raced through the alien corridors. Every second counted. They could hear the sounds of battle outside, knew that people were dying to give them this chance. Finally, they reached the AI core. It was a massive structure, pulsing with energy. Dr. Foster pulled out a device containing the Trojan horse virus. "Here goes everything," he said, and plugged it in. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the lights on the battleship flickered. Its weapons went dead. Slowly, the massive ship came to a stop. In the EEDA command center, on the Resilience, and all around the world, people held their breath. Had it worked? Then, Dr. Foster's voice came over the comm, tired but triumphant. "EEDA command, this is Foster. The battleship is ours." Cheers erupted across the globe. Against all odds, David had defeated Goliath. The battle was won, but the war was far from over. As Earth celebrated its victory, the real challenge was just beginning. What would they do with their newfound power in the galaxy? As the dust settled from the epic space battle, Earth found itself in a position no one could have imagined just days ago. The massive Imperial battleship, now under human control, hung in orbit like a trophy of war. Smaller captured ships surrounded it, a testament to humanity's unlikely victory. Inside the EEDA command center, the mood was a mix of exhaustion and elation. General Stone stood before his team, his usual stern expression softened by a hint of a smile. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, "I won't say we've won the war, but we've sure as hell won a battle no one thought we could. Well done." A cheer went up from the tired but proud staff. Dr. Aiden Foster and Sarah Chen shared a relieved look. Their Trojan horse virus had worked better than they'd dared hope. But the celebration was short-lived. An urgent call came in from the captured battleship. Captain Maria Rodriguez's face appeared on the main screen, her expression serious. "General, we've got a situation up here. We found. Well, you need to see this for yourself." The feed switched to show a vast chamber within the battleship. It was filled with rows upon rows of stasis pods, each containing a sleeping alien. "There are thousands of them," Captain Rodriguez reported. "Soldiers, technicians, civilians. It looks like they were prepared for a long-term occupation." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. They hadn't just captured a ship. They'd captured an entire invasion force. General Stone's mind raced with the possibilities and dangers this presented. "Secure them all," he ordered. "We need to figure out our next move." As news of the discovery spread, the world's reaction was mixed. Some called for immediate retaliation against the Empire, while others urged caution. The debate raged on social media, in government halls, and on street corners. In New Delhi, protesters gathered outside the United Nations office, demanding the aliens be put on trial for attempted invasion. In Rio de Janeiro, scientists petitioned for the chance to study the advanced stasis technology. In Nairobi, peace activists organized vigils, calling for a diplomatic solution. Meanwhile, Earth's leaders convened an emergency global summit. Representatives from every nation met virtually to decide the fate of their unexpected prisoners. President Elena Rodriguez addressed the assembly. "We stand at a crossroads," she said. "The choices we make today will shape not just the future of Earth, but our place in the galactic community." The debate was heated. Some nations pushed for using the captured aliens as bargaining chips, threatening to wake them unless the Empire withdrew completely. Others argued for a more humanitarian approach, suggesting that treating the prisoners well could open a door to peaceful negotiations. As the politicians argued, the team at EEDA worked around the clock. Dr. Foster led efforts to understand and control the advanced systems of the Imperial ships. Sarah Chen coordinated with linguists worldwide to develop better translation algorithms, hoping to communicate with their captives if and when they woke them. On the captured battleship, Captain Rodriguez and her crew faced a unique challenge. They were space sailors turned prison wardens, responsible for thousands of lives in suspended animation. The pressure was immense. "I never thought I'd say this," Rodriguez confided to her first officer, "but space battles were simpler. At least then, we knew who the enemy was." As days passed, Earth's scientists made breakthrough after breakthrough. The technological leap provided by the captured ships was staggering. New forms of energy, advanced materials, and even the beginnings of faster-than-light travel theories emerged. But with every discovery came new questions. How would this change life on Earth? Were they ready for such advancement? And most pressingly, how would the Galactic Empire respond to losing their invasion force? The answer to the last question came sooner than expected. A week after the battle, long-range sensors detected a massive energy signature at the edge of the solar system. A transmission followed, sent on all frequencies in perfect Earth English. "Attention, planet Earth. This is Grand Admiral Zexlor of the Galactic Imperial Fleet. You have committed an act of war against the Empire. Surrender our ships and personnel immediately, or face the consequences. You have one Earth rotation to comply." The message sent shockwaves through the planet. The euphoria of victory evaporated, replaced by a grim realization. The real test was yet to come. In the EEDA command center, General Stone gathered his team. "Well, folks," he said, his voice resolute, "it looks like the Empire doesn't take kindly to being banned. Any ideas on how we tell a galactic superpower to shove off?" Again. As the clock ticked down, Earth faced its greatest challenge yet. The next 24 hours would determine the fate of humanity. The game of galactic chess had entered its most critical phase, and Earth was playing for keeps. The ultimatum from Grand Admiral Zexlor hung over Earth like a storm cloud. With only hours left before the deadline, the planet was a hive of activity. In the EEDA command center, General Stone and his team worked frantically to formulate a response. "We can't give in," Sarah Chen argued. "If we return their ships and crew, we lose everything we've gained." Dr. Foster nodded in agreement. "But we can't fight them head-on either. Even with the captured ships, we're outnumbered and outgunned." General Stone listened to his team, his mind racing. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. "What if we don't have to fight or surrender? What if we change the rules of the game?" He turned to Dr. Foster. "You said our virus gave us control of their AI systems, right? How far does that control extend?" Foster's eyes widened as he caught on to the general's plan. "With the right modifications, we could potentially access the Empire's entire network. We could shut down their fleet without firing a shot." The next few hours were a blur of activity. Foster and his team worked tirelessly to enhance the Trojan horse virus. Sarah coordinated with the captured battleship, preparing for their daring plan. As the deadline approached, Earth made its move. President Rodriguez addressed the world, her voice steady and determined. "Citizens of Earth, today we take our stand. Not just for our planet, but for all beings who value freedom and self-determination." In orbit, Captain Maria Rodriguez and her crew on the captured battleship initiated the upgraded virus. It spread through the Empire's network like wildfire, jumping from ship to ship. On the main Imperial vessel, Grand Admiral Zexlor watched in horror as his mighty fleet went dark. Weapons systems failed, engines shut down, and communication channels went silent. The entire Imperial Armada hung helpless in space. Earth's message was broadcast across the galaxy. "Attention, Galactic Empire. Your fleet is now under our control. We have no desire for war or conquest. We simply wish to be left in peace. Let this be a lesson. Earth is not to be trifled with." The response was immediate and unexpected. Across the galaxy, long subjugated worlds saw the Empire's defeat as a sign. Rebellions erupted on 100 planets. The Empire, once all-powerful, found itself fighting for survival. In the following weeks, Earth became a beacon of hope for the galaxy. Alien diplomats arrived in droves, Seeking alliances and trade agreements, the United Nations expanded to become the United Planets, with Earth at its center. Dr. Foster and his team shared their technological breakthroughs, ushering in a new era of innovation and progress. Sarah Chen led efforts to establish communication and cultural exchange programs with other worlds. The captured Imperial soldiers were eventually awoken. Many, learning of the Empire's defeat, chose to defect. They became valuable allies, helping Earth navigate its new role in galactic politics. Captain Maria Rodriguez, hailed as a hero, was appointed Earth's first ambassador to the galactic community. Her first mission: negotiating a lasting peace with what remained of the Empire. 6 months after Earth's ban on the Galactic Empire, the planet hosted the first Galactic Cooperation Summit. Representatives from thousands of worlds gathered to discuss a new era of peace and mutual respect. President Rodriguez opened the summit with a speech that would be remembered for generations. Not long ago, we thought we were alone in the universe. Then we faced extinction at the hands of an empire that saw us as nothing more than a resource to be exploited. But we refused to bow down. We stood up, not just for ourselves, but for the idea that every world, every species, has the right to chart its own course. She looked out at the assembled aliens, a smile on her face. Today, we start a new chapter, not as conquerors or subjects, but as equals. Together, we will build a galaxy where freedom and dignity are not just human rights, but universal rights. As the delegates cheered, General Stone watched from the back of the room. He thought about how far they'd come. From a secret organization preparing for the worst to the architects of a new galactic order. Sarah Chen joined him, grinning. Not bad for a planet that was about to be colonized. Stone allowed himself a rare chuckle. Not bad at all. But our work's just beginning. We've got a whole galaxy of possibilities ahead of us. As night fell on Earth, its cities lit up in celebration. The sky above was filled with ships from 100 worlds, no longer a threat, but a promise of adventures to come. Earth had taken its place among the stars, not by conquest, but by standing firm in its beliefs. The galaxy would never be the same again, and humanity was ready for whatever came next.